In the headlines, Attorney General approves extradition of suspended DCP Abba Kyari to United States to answer charges. House of Representatives rejects bill to regulate children of public officers study abroad. Police in Delta say autopsy reveals school pupil killed by shock, not teacher. And on the foreign scene, Norwegian Refugee Council chief calls for immediate ceasefire as Kiev and Moscow set to hold second round of talks. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Now the news in full. The federal government on Thursday approved the request by the United States of America for suspended commander of the Police Intelligence Response Team, Deputy Commissioner of Police Abba Kyari, to be extradited for the $1.1 million wire fraud perpetrated by Abbas Ramon, also known as Hush Puppy, and 4 others. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, said the government's approval follows an application filed before the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court in Abuja for Kyari's extradition. The AGF said the application is coming after a request by the diplomatic representative of the U.S. Embassy in Abuja for the surrender of Abba Kyari, who is subject in a superseding 3-count indictment. The AGF also expressed satisfaction that the request for the surrender of Kyari is not made to persecute or punish him on account of his race, religion, nationality or political opinions, but in good faith and in the interest of justice, adding that Kyari, if surrendered, will not be prejudiced at his trial, punished, detained or restricted in his personal liberty. Chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Mahmoud Yakubu, says the commission will continue to deploy innovations to improve the nation's electoral process. Yakubu made the comment in Abuja during a meeting with delegation from the European Union Election Observation Mission. He explained that several reforms by the Commission, including the creation of additional polling units, were initiated from the recommendations of the EU Election Observation Mission and like-minded organizations after the 2019 elections.
One in 2017, led by Mr. Santiago Fisas, who also led the EU Election Observation Mission to Nigeria in 2015. I'm glad that today's mission is led by Maria Arena, who also headed the EU Election Observation Mission to Nigeria's general election in 2019. After the 2019 general election, we undertook a comprehensive review of the election observation reports by accredited domestic and international observers. Beyond that, we conducted our own internal review involving our regular and ad hoc officials, and subsequently expanded it to include political parties, civil society organizations, security agencies, and media organizations. Of the review has since been published, and it is already on our website, and here is the document. It is already on our website since published, alongside the report for the 2019 general election.
This election observation follow-up mission was expected since some time, and it is very timely, and we look forward to fruitful discussions with your Commission today. The European Union is a long-standing partner of Nigeria and supporter of Nigerian democracy since long time. And we are that we can continue our cooperation. And the European Union has also recently launched, as you know, its new electoral support program in view of the next general elections. And we are very happy and proud to have the possibility to continue working with you, to continue supporting you, and to contribute to improving the electoral process and system in Nigeria. And
till the 23 election to have more improvements, because I think there is room of maneuver to do more. to implement this law, because we know that a law is something, but the implementation is more important. And so how this law could be implemented and can be implemented in the next future is really important, and how you can also continue to improve the INEC work, because we just think that INEC is really an important actor during these elections.
Meanwhile, Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) is meeting with stakeholders on how to ensure physical presence against near-zero presence of prospective voters during elections on the newly created polling units in Kwara State. The electoral umpire also warns against double registration, which it says it's a criminal offense. The report.
Low turnout of voters on election day has been a challenge the Independent National Electoral Commission is facing. The electoral body created more polling units to address the problem, but this seems not completely over.
All the recs were summoned to Abuja to come up with the modality of how we are going to avoid zero polling units. Because the Anambra election that was held, over 1,900 polling units were not used because there were no voters. And INEC had printed thousands and thousands of ballot papers and it was not utilized. The same thing with the FCT election. Over 593 polling units were not used. Some even had just 0, some had 10. So they say we should go back. The essence of why the polling unit was created is not being utilized.
The interactive session is meant to address the issue, and the representatives of political parties and non-governmental organizations were on ground to offer suggestions and ask questions.
The REC in its remark, the registration exercise commenced last year, June. And those of us that must have gone to do some amendment on our PVC or CVR, when is it going to be out? Ordinarily, one would have thought before the next quarter. The other one, the one we have done, ought to have been ready, so that it will not come at the same time with others after a year of registration.
The police seized the opportunity to warn politicians against any breach of the law as it affects the commencement of campaigns.
I want to at this point tell you that INEC has not officially lifted ban on campaign activities. We are warning you not to do anything that will hit up the state by engaging on political campaign at this point, utterances or publications. We have been witnessing it. We will not hesitate to arrest any party official or his proxy and invoke the wrath of the law.
Stakeholders hope voter turnout will be impressive during the next round of elections, with creation of more polling units by INEC across the country.
And House of Representatives on Thursday rejected a bill which seeks to regulate the way children of public officers are traveling outside the country to study. The bill, sponsored by Sergius Ogun, which is slated for second reading, also calls for the strengthening of Nigeria's public institutions to discourage the preference for foreign institutions. Presenting the lead debate on the bill, Ogun noted that it intends to check the trend of public officers taking their wards outside the country for studies, while less effort is being made to better the situation of the nation's public schools. Contributing to the debate, the Deputy Minority Leader, Tobi Okechukwu, said there should be a clear perspective on the intent of the bill so that it is not taken on a biased assumption, while Leke Abejide, on his part, argued that some public office holders have their children studying abroad before they hold public office. However, majority of the lawmakers rejected the bill during a voice vote. And 16 days after the tragic story of a 19-month pupil, Obinna Udeze, allegedly flogged to death by his teacher, it has now been established that he died as a result of septic shock. Delta State Commissioner of Police disclosed this during a press briefing at the state headquarters in Asaba, insisting that autopsy results shows that his death is not caused by the flogging. Consequently, CP Abba Ari Ali Mohammed says investigation is concluded and the matter has now been charged to court. Reacting to the news, the mother of the boy says her position on the cause of death still remains the same and she's calling for justice for her late son.
According to the autopsy report, the cause is that the boy died of septic shock. Septic shock. That is what the autopsy result says is, of course, the death of, that caused the death of that boy. Not the flogging as alleged. So now that the autopsy report is out, and of course doctor says it is caused by septic shock, we have no option than to charge the case to court. When it gets to court, lawyers, court can do the follow-up from there. It is now going to be the duty of the court to interpret alongside with the medical doctor or whoever that did the autopsy to explain that to the court. As far as we are concerned, we are done with that investigation. The police is done with the investigation of that matter. The next is to charge the case to court. So whatever interpretation the court wants to give to it is left for them.
At the police station today, not just quite long I got back. And if this information got, for you to get it, that means it didn't come this evening. I should have been pre-informed. And if I wasn't briefed on anything pertaining this, I would still say I didn't accept it. So I would be waiting for them and for the government, because for me, I can't do anything. I have nothing. I have nobody to run to. The only person I'm begging is God for justice to prevail.
And fuel scarcity is taking its toll on farmers in Jos, the Plateau State capital. Farmers in the state rely largely on irrigation farming to cultivate farm produce near dams, streams or rivers, among others, where they can easily channel water to their farms. They, however, buy fuel at exorbitant prices to power pumping machines to water the farms. Dixon Adama visits some of the farmers on their farms in Jos, and most express satisfaction with the lingering fuel scarcity.
Very suffering for that. So you see, 1 gallon, we are buying 1 gallon 1,000 to 1,005 for 1 gallon. And sometimes we are using 3 gallons, 4 gallons for a day. You see, we are very suffering much. You see, I don't know how, maybe the farm where I farm said maybe it can support, because I have no money to continue again.
Fuel scarcity is affecting the farm. As you can see, even the Irish is not giving us what we got even last year. Last year, we can use just 1,000 to fuel our engine from morning till 12. But this time around, even if you apply 3,000 fuel, it can never take you 2 hours. So it's actually affecting everything from the farmer, the farm itself, and the products. So it's not, we are just doing it because we are used to it.
You've listened to what the dry season farmers have said with respect to the fuel scarcity, which has also affected them. And they have complained that even if they have the money to buy, they don't see the fuel to buy. And should they even buy, they buy it at exorbitant prices. And it's not enough to even pump water from the dam into their farms. So it's expected that the government should do something about the fuel scarcity so that it doesn't eat into all the fabrics of the society, and so that the irrigation farmers can continue their farming activities and there will be availability of crops throughout the season. Trust TV News, Jos. Dixon Salami Adama reporting.
You're watching Trust TV News Update. Coming up after the break, fake medical doctor in soup. This and more after the break. Do stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching Trust TV News Update. Now look at our top stories. Federal government on Thursday approved the request by the United States of America for suspended commander of the Police Intelligence Response Team, Deputy Commissioner of Police Abba, to be extradited for the $1.1 million wire fraud perpetrated by Abbas Ramon, also known as Hush Puppy, and 4 others. And House of Representatives on Thursday rejected a bill which seeks to regulate the way children of public officers are traveling outside the country to study. And moving on to other news now. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, says Nigeria has recorded 28 cases of COVID-19 in 4 states and the Federal Capital Territory. The agency showed that 28 persons were discharged after they recovered from the COVID-19 infection, with no death reported on Wednesday, leaving the country's total fatality figure at 3,142. Nigeria has so far recorded 254,598 infections and 249,138 recoveries across the country. Meanwhile, a fake medical doctor is in police custody in Gombe State. The suspect, named Vincent Ihekua, has been practicing with a forged license in an unnamed private hospital in Gombe metropolis for a long time. Ibrahim Ismail now reports.
This is a 36-year-old man paraded by the Gombe State Police Command. He is believed to be a fake medical doctor. The police said the man was fingered by a medical doctor who reported him to the Nigerian Medical Council.
Another important case that's worth of mention is impersonation. One Vincent Edesini, age 36 years, of Ekpoma in Edo State. This one implied to be a medical doctor. The command, through information from the Nigerian Medical Council, arrested one Vincent Edesini, age 36 years, of Ekpoma in Edo State, who has been working as a medical doctor at one of the hospitals in Gombe. But luck ran out of him when the director of the hospital, the head of the clinic, noticed that he cannot satisfactorily discharge his duty effectively. Hence, he called for verification of his certificate, certification from the Nigerian Medical Council, who, after discovered that his license is forged, which led to his subsequent arrest. Meanwhile, the suspect has even confessed to the crime and the reason why he's probably involved in that this unlawful act. After the complete obligation, will be charged to court.
Speaking to newsmen, the suspect confessed to his crime.
I never intend to show on live TV like this.
You never like to be on TV like this?
I never intend to show up
on
TV this way. I
actually have been accused of being having a fake or impersonation.
Yes, yeah, all right. Due to financial constraint, I dropped out of medical school after my pre-clinicals.
What year?
In the year 2008.
So you're not able to go back and complete your study?
Yeah, due to financial constraint, I was unable to raise a fund to go back to school. And I believe this is a deterrent to people out there. There is no don't cut short corners to success. Make sure you do the right thing and you will be successful. On my own part, I know after this ordeal, definitely I'm going back to school and do the right thing, and I'll be successful in life. Thank you so much.
Why do you have to wait till this time, since 2008, before you realize this? I'm sure you must have raised some money.
As a family man, family pressure here and there, so I was unable, no sponsor. I was unable to raise funds to further my education. And I believe this is a challenge to me. I am going out there to prove the whole world wrong. That once a fake doctor, now is the real doctor. Thank you.
The Gombe State Police Command also paraded some suspected criminals on various offenses, including a suspected killer and a suspected kidnapper. All these suspects are expected to be taken to court for trial. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
Another fire outbreak has occurred in an internally displaced persons camp in Maiduguri. The fire outbreak, which happened on Wednesday, was quickly put out by 3 fire service fighters mobilized to the scene to contain the disaster. A similar inferno destroyed over 2,000 houses 2 weeks ago. The cause of the latest fire incident and number of houses destroyed and casualties remain unknown.
It's not up to 15 days. Another fire started again. A lot of properties were destroyed, and it took long before the fire service people came to quench it. We are calling on the governor to save the situation by rebuilding our communities so we can return. We are not happy with this continuous incident, and feeding is difficult for us. Fire always affects this IDP camp.
We have been suffering days, not once, not twice. Right now, no place to sleep, no bed. I have stayed here for 7 years. We are seriously tired of staying here. We just want compensation and we leave the camp so we can go and continue our lives elsewhere.
And Nigerians are responding to the Nigeria Communication Commission's warning on the existence of a software that steals banking login details of individuals. Some information technology experts in Bauchi said the Nigerian government should also do the needful to protect unsuspecting internet users from cyber fraud. Adamu Imam has details.
The Nigerian Communications Commission's Computer Security Incident Response Team has warned Nigerians to be more vigilant of a newly hatched malicious software that still uses banking application login credentials, especially on Android phones devices. Bauchi residents lamented about the situation, says it's high time for the authority concerned and the relevant agencies to find a solution to the internet problems.
Most of the people, they don't know. Sometimes we used to tell people, don't follow a link, but when you go to home, somebody will call you that I have gotten a message, someone tell you that I'm offer 50,000 naira or 100,000 naira, I should send my BBN or I should call him, and many things. So I want to share this information. I would say NCC to call or to share to sensitize Nigerian.
Some people have been deprived their livelihood. Some people their savings, and the youth really need to understand that crime is crime. There's nothing like working smart, you understand? And I also urge people, the vulnerable ones, to be at alert. Not everything that glitters is good. Sometimes they will say, click this and get this. Just know that it doesn't work like that. And most of the times they use your bank account details to entice you. They say federal government is giving 20 million, understand? And people, desperate ones will be so desperate is not good. So I urge on everyone, let's be at an alert.
Fraud is going to be on. All you need to do is just be educated, get yourself ready. Any fraud that comes around you, try not to fall in.
While others says the issue of such incident of internet crime can be minimized or tackled only if the user can avoid it and asks for relevant questions to whatever comes strange while browsing.
There are some of these software which are not under the control or the domain of NCC, whereas NCC find it very difficult to control this kind of internet fraud. For instance, if there is a strong legislative power given by the NCC to make sure that all such kind of apps should be regulated within Nigeria space, I think it will go a long way. Then secondly, NCC should be able to have a data of each and every adult in Nigeria that can be able to access internet. By the time they have the data of an individual, they can be able to fast-track individuals that committed crime.
NCC said the main intent of this malware was to steal credentials combined with the use of SMS and notification through Android phones and interception to log in and use potential two-factor authentication token, as the case may be. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
And now a look at the foreign scene, where Secretary General of the Norwegian Refugee Council, Jan Egeland, has called for an immediate ceasefire in Ukraine, saying aid workers cannot save lives under a hail of bombs and grenades. Egeland, in a statement, said with empty shops, overwhelmed healthcare, and no electricity or safe water, local and international aid groups on the ground must urgently resume work, warning of mounting numbers of civilian casualties across the country. He said the men who started this war sit in safe and comfortable offices, noting that they can end it today and resume meaningful political talks. And that wraps up Trust TV News Update for this hour. Don't forget, you can subscribe and follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for joining us.